everybody, welcome to this episode of Salute the Shorts. I'm Brian,
And I'm Rod.
and on this episode, we have a special guest, and you can't see him because he's been killed by Bishop the Barber.
I think
Sounds like a
so.
question more than an answer. But
Yeah, well,
I think if you go up at the end, that means it's a question. So I'll go ahead and
Yeah.
answer that. Yes, I was murdered, and I came back. My voice changed overnight as well. Puberty hit me like a brick.
So we have Christopher Kelly, and he's the writer and director of a short concept film. It's a concept film, but it's also a short. Is that?
Yeah, it's a proof of concept. So I know that's a little confusing. So a proof of concept is usually a lot like a very low budget. That most of them look like garbage. If you wanted to go on, you can go on YouTube and just look up proof of concept, and a lot of times you'll see that they're shot with like DVs or even on cell phones, and they basically just to give you an idea of what the script that the person has written, to give you an idea of what to expect. We really wanted to just make this one kind of stand out. So what my proof of concept is it could double as a short film as well. So there's multiple ways you can do a proof of concept. You can do a short film, or you could do like a trailer. Most people pick the trailer route because whenever you're going to submit to investors, they're going to be like, okay, well, let me see the good stuff. And it's like, well, I don't have the money to just show killing after killing after killing and then tits. So as much as I would love to, I don't have that kind of money. So we shot it like a short film. So it's not like a well-rounded short film, but it's more like something that the horror fans or guys like yourselves, whenever you watch it, you're like, oh yeah, I get what this is about. I understand this. And it's more so that people that watch horror films can watch it and go, oh yeah, this is cool. I like this. This is like the beginning of Friday the 13th, and whatnot.
Now, is that why your characters are named like guy and girl? Is that right?
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you for pointing that out. Thank you. Yes, whenever we were shooting it, actually, my actors were like, "Why are we just called guy and girl?" And I was like, "Let me explain slasher logic real quick." And they're just like, but certain people watch it kind of like y'all, where they're like probably sitting there going, "Oh snap, I see what he's doing here. That's cool." But
Yeah, and you walk away from it wanting more of Bishop's story, is what
Yeah.
I want. I could
Thank
care
you.
less about the people that are getting murdered. They're just
Guys and girls.
yeah, I wouldn't say throwaway
Well,
characters. They're important, but
wait
at
a
the same
minute.
time,
I want this redone because there's a certain scene that did not get to show everything that I wanted to see. And I think we know
Wow.
what it is when she starts lifting up the shirt.
You wanted to see guys junk? What?
What?
What? Rod.
Rod. They don't call me Rod for nothing. You know what
Hey.
I'm saying?
Well, when you
No.
said tits, I was like, that's why we keep Rod around. He's got the best ones on the show.
Right. Was there I mean, was there a choice? Was that your choice then not to? Because I mean she was very close to showing, and then
Yeah. Well, Jessica, she said that she would be comfortable just with her bra, and I was like, I really didn't want to get into nudity because it is a proof of concept. There's nudity is not necessary unless we're doing like a strip club movie.
okay.
So that was more of what I was gauging it on. Was more like it's not necessary. You get the idea. They're going to do it. There's no reason to try to graphically explain it. And
Yeah.
whenever she went to go lift up her shirt, and that was basically it. I was like, well, that'd be a perfect time to have the cue to have it just do the bang sound. Well, it was originally a bang sound, but when we did it, I know that like when y'all probably watched it and you heard that noise, you're probably like, that doesn't sound like a chair collapsing. Well, you would be correct. So we tried a chair collapse sound and it just didn't work. A lot of the times when you're doing these things, whenever you're looking at it in the editing room, you're like, God, that just looks and sounds stupid. So you got to do something else. And then we try to combine it with like a scissor cutting sound. So that way, if you are to watch that, it's like it kind of blends a little bit. So that way it doesn't like just deliberately sound stupid, basically.
When you're doing a proof of concept, because one of my gripes was, well, why is it in an abandoned warehouse? But you don't want to throw all of your budget at something if it's a proof of concept. You want to save some of the story and the ideas and some of the stuff that you're going to show later
Correct.
for a full movie if you get to that point.
The warehouse is actually my friend Jim's warehouse. He was the gaffer and producer on this, and he and his business partner Damian Doherty, they both own Killer Clown Grips, which is named after Killer Clowns from Outer Space. They're both massive fans. Actually, for the premiere of this movie, they both had Killer Clowns from Outer Space shirts on, matching shirts, and they were just like, when they both showed up, they're like, "Ah, I knew you were going to wear the clown shirt." Uh, and they have Shorty the Clown right there in front of their business. So whenever you go into their business to get some gear, Shorty the Clown is there to say hi. But yeah, it's his warehouse, and we just kind of put two solid blacks up so that way it would make the area more condensed. And we just put two pallets of, aside from running this grip business, Jim and Damon are also toy salesmen. So they do a lot of like vintage toy sales. So they were doing a toy sale the next day. So they put down two pallets of toys so that way we could just use that as stuff. And that we just put decoration around that so that way whenever you're not supposed to focus on it, but it just kind of looks like stuff lying there. And
Yeah.
I think it, for the most part, it just kind of doesn't make you like no, realize that you're watching a grip warehouse. It just kind of like looks like it.
One, when you do a proof of concept, it's a little different than a short. I think for some of our people that watch and listen to our podcast, I like it spooky horror podcast. You're showing it to people and saying, "What do you think? What
Exactly.
what would be better? What can I do that maybe I didn't think of?" Or because you're for a proof of concept, you're showing that. I think you had a showing, if I remember right. I was seeing on the Instagram page that you showed it to a group of people, and you probably picked all their brains and see what they thought.
Yeah. The proof of concept, like exactly what you said, like kind of like, what do you think about this? Is this something that would want you want to watch more? Does this make you want to see a feature version of it? What do you think with this? And that was generally kind of like what y'all just said, was that it does make you want to know more. What is Bishop? What is going on in this town? And just kind of like feel like, is this a slasher film that I would be more interested in watching? That's what we're trying to do with it. We did have a premiere of it. I invited, I work in the industry, as you see from pulling up my IMDb, and there was basically all industry friends. We were all sitting around watching it, and they were all just like, "Whoa, that was awesome! I was not expecting that." Like, most people were like, that wasn't really what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a little more lame, like maybe like shot it with an iPhone type of thing. And I was like, well, thanks for having all that faith in me. But
Yeah.
you know,
I thought for sure when Rod said the one thing he wanted to see was when Guy gets the scissors in his eyeballs.
Oh,
trust me, if we had the money,
Yeah, yeah.
the uh what thank you for pointing that out. But yeah, the throat gag when the guy gets his throat cut, that was done by Salem, and she did that for $100. She's a
oh,
wizard. Like she does special effects on the cheap. Like my friend, I knew her through my friend Jonathan Williams, who does set deck, but I knew that he knew special effects makeup people, and I was like, "Do you know anybody that could help us out?" And he's like, "Yeah, my friend Salem." And he showed me a video of she did a short film where somebody chops their fingers off, and I was like, "Jesus Christ!" It's like that's bitching. And I was just like, "Do you think she'd do it?" And he's like, "Probably, yeah. Hit her up." And then she was just like, "Yeah, let me just calculate how much it would be." And she was just like, "It was like $98 and 60 something cents." And I was like, "Jesus, thank you, Salem." Like, yes.
Yeah.
So,
Rod and I are both judges for some film festivals, and I go to a couple of film festivals every year. And good kills are hard to find
mm,
hmm
because they're so tight on a budget. When they do these, people do these shorts, that a good kills are hard to find. So
hmm
when you see a good kill in a short film, it really stands out, and that's what stood out. I'll say the most, other than wanting to know more of the story, was that throat slash.
oh
I was like,
absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah.
that's top notch. That's TV Hollywood stuff. That's a good, really good special effect.
No,
So,
Salem would be very happy to hear y'all say that one. I'll make sure that she gets to hear this because
so,
yeah, she really did amazing work with the minimal amount of budget and time that she had. So
so that
uh,
means when you do this movie, you have to have her back, right, to work
Oh
on a
yeah,
feature. Yeah, yeah.
that was part of the payment. So for the budget we had $600. $300 went to crew hats that just said Bishop's Day that I had stitched in it. If I could get the camera to work, I'd show y'all the hats. But and then I had $100 for craft services, $100 for dinner, and then $100 for the throat gag. And I guess technically speaking, it'd be more like leaning towards 700 because I all the stuff that we used in the movie, almost all of Bishop's stuff, like all the barbershop stuff, that was all just stuff that I got from between. I live in Douglasville, Georgia, and we shot it in Fayetteville, Georgia. And all the barbershops, I just literally went to every barbershop and was just like, hey, are y'all throwing anything out? Is there anything broken? What do you, and they were just like, yeah, sure. We got a bunch of crap in the back. They're like, go ahead. And I got everything you see other than the scissors. The scissors were actually real scissors that they use for grip for cutting the canvas, but everything else was just that. And there was a few other items that I bought off of eBay, but it cost so much, you know. I mean, it did cost so little that it was not even worth mentioning. It's like less. Everything was like less than I think $10 total, and all the bottles and everything I got from my heavy alcoholism. No, I'm just kidding. One of the reoccurring themes I noticed whenever I was going to the barbershops was that there was a lot of repurposed liquor bottles that they would just
Mhm.
boil off the labels and then put their own label on. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I went to the recycling center as I recycle every month, and then I just went strict right to the glass and just started going through there. And of course, they were just like, "What are you doing?" I was like, just trying to get some props for a movie. And they're like, yeah, well, don't sue us. We didn't see anything. If you break something, then you know, if you cut yourself, then we don't know you.
So, I was kind of curious what inspired your story here.
Anything and everything. So I've been a big fan of slasher films for my entire life. I remember probably in '93, whenever I this very distinctly remember whenever my uncle had to babysit me and my brothers. I have two older brothers, and he took us to Blockbuster and was like, "All right, y'all can get R-rated movies, just don't tell your parents." Of course, at the time, there was two movies that were just released on VHS, which was Freddy's Dead and Terminator 2. I didn't get either one. I can't remember what movie I got, but my brother got Freddy's Dead, and we watched it. And I just remember watching it and just laughing at it, but being like scared at the same time, and just being like, I want to do something like this. I want people to be scared, but at the same time having a good time. And they just stuck with me my entire life, and I've just been collecting movies since then. Really, I mean, I have a gigantic collection. I mean, I've downsized so many times. I got rid of about 200 movies the other day. I still got thousands. It's ridiculous. Um, I actually converted one of my closets to just hold my movies, and
Wow.
you know, it's nuts. And I still have more. And so I basically picked all my favorite slasher films, which I have roughly about 250 of them. And I just watched them all during the writer's strike, which for those of us in the industry, during my premiere, I was like, and we all remember the writer's strike, and everybody was like, ugh, 'cause it sucked. So I took that as a time to just kind of sit down, watch these movies for the millionth time, and then I was like, why don't I just start writing my own? So then I for my real inspirations were all the Friday the 13th, all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, all the Halloweens, uh, the first three Screams, because I don't really care. Scream 4 is okay, but Scream 5 was so stupid. And then I don't even know who's the killer in Scream 6. And they're filming Scream 7 down the street from me. And I'm like, I mean, it's just like, you know, I don't, where are they going to take this? Like, unless it goes to outer space or Dominic Toretto shows up, I'm not going to care.
We can always hope.
Yeah. I just want to see him pull up and just be like, this one's for family.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, every horror film, specifically slashers, that was my main inspiration. And I found throughout watching all these movies and doing my research that there was no barbershop slasher. Now, everybody always tries to jump up and say, well, what about Sweeney Todd? Sweeney Todd is a musical first. Also, he's been around since the 1800s. And then he wasn't turned into a quote unquote slasher, if you want to call it that, until 1970s to cash in on the success of Peeping Tom from 10 years earlier. And then it was called a slasher in 2007 with the Tim Burton version. So if we're going to go that route, so let's just say, for instance, we're going to go the Sweeney Todd route. That is one movie that was made almost 20 years ago. That's not a cliche, even if you want to say that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not so drawn out, but that
Yeah, it hasn't been done since, so until
exactly,
now. And I think
exactly.
it's done so much better. Like I like musicals, but I really enjoyed this one from start to end.
Are we
It
talking about Sweeney Todd?
No, we're talking about your movie,
Oh, thank you very
your
much.
future feature length film,
Thank you. The
right?
script is written. I have a
Nice.
whole, yeah, that was the first thing I did. And I started sending it out to people. I got a lot of positive, a few negative. My friend John Stasanko, he's a first AD, and he gave me a very thorough breakdown that was about like 4 hours. We sat at a coffee shop, and he was like pulling out things and saying like this, change this, da 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 da. Like, and he was like, then he called me, he was like, hey, look, like just cherry pick the stuff that I told you because this is coming from me. This is not like coming from you. He's like, just cherry pick the stuff that you think I said makes sense. And I just kind of reworked it a little bit, but the opening has always been the same. And what y'all saw was the opening, just kind of reworked because it obviously would take place in a real barbershop or at least an abandoned barbershop, and we could set dress anything to make that fit. And originally it opens up like they're at a bar, and then you go from the bar to outside, and then so on and so on, and they have to break into the Bishop's barbershop and so on. And the killing is a lot more brutal too. He breaks his jaw, his tongue falls out. He grabs the tongue, snips it, and then grabs the guy's head, and shoves the scissors through it, and then the eyeballs pop out through the back, and then smash cut to girl standing there naked and being well, she's naked in the feature because you do the Roger Corman approach, naked in the beginning, a little bit of naked in the middle, naked at the end, and the last one at the end has to be the main girl. So
You have my money, sir.
Rod's already bought 2 tickets.
um, but yeah, like the feature's already written. It was then my friend Jim read it and was like, "Hey, why don't we shoot this? Shoot the sizzle reel of it and see if we can get some money." So we did, and now it's just doing the interviews, putting it out there, so that way, if an investor is like, "Hey, this is a good idea," and going from there.
So have you considered doing the other routes that some of the indies have been doing, like the Indiegogo or anything like that? The GoFundMe stuff?
I thought about it. I haven't really put much more than just being like, should we do it or shouldn't we do it? I haven't really done much other than that. So yeah, I mean, I think I think I could probably get maybe a little bit of funding from it. But the ultimate dream is to just have at least like a handful of people and be like, here's $2 million and go to Romania and then shoot it there.
One,
Yeah,
if you take it to some film festivals and gets people talking and get it
exactly.
in front of
Win
people's faces,
Yeah, win
then
some
maybe
awards.
win
Yeah.
some awards, then yeah.
Yeah, I have it in about 30 festivals right now.
Mm,
I'm hoping that Cannes actually takes it because Cannes has its own separate horror section. So I was like,
mhm,
well, that would be nice.
yeah,
One can only hope.
yeah.
And so far, it's just, getting the word out and then getting people's eyes on it and just being like, oh, cool. And then talking about it with, podcasters like y'all.
So if you see that Bishop stays listed on a film festival that you're going to, definitely check it out. We're going to try to talk you into going to the film festival that we go to. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll send you that information for Halloween Palooza. I don't know anybody that other than Jason Bollinger, which is a friend of ours, that and Insane Mike that helps put it on. When somebody's name is Insane Mike, isn't that like perfect for a
Yeah.
horror film festival?
Like, yeah, he's actually pretty tame. Huh.
Yeah, but yeah, and look for Bishop's Day. Hopefully, a feature film somewhere down the line, and we will definitely keep you updated.
Yeah.
Chris has my email, so he can. Hey, it's coming someday. Here's a poster, and I mean, when that happens, we'll definitely have to cover it on one of the shows on, the I Like It Spooky or the Wrong Podcast Died, or we have several subcasts, so
Yeah.
including Salute the Shorts, but it wouldn't fit there because it would be a feature.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
yeah, there you
so yeah,
go. Yeah, I'll gladly come back anytime and talk more
yeah.
about myself. It's my favorite subject.
Is
Um,
it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hope
uh,
Yeah.
to see some more.
Yeah.
yeah, the I guess like a little bit more about the movie. It was like I said, we were at my friend's warehouse. All the set dressing and everything was basically broken stuff, and we just kind of took all the stuff that was in the front room and put it into the room that was beside it, the one that was covered in the newspapers, and that way it was all windows, and then that way you wouldn't see it, and then that was it. We had three lights for the entire thing, so whenever weren't shooting the stuff that was in the other room, we put the lights on the outside, and then that was how we got that lit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the door disc squeaked, and I thought Bishop was coming to cut my hair, which I
A
definitely
little bit.
need.
uh,
But yeah, well,
but the poster that we have was actually shot from B-roll because we one of the scenes that we shot didn't seem to work, so we just did close-ups on all the items that were on the table, and the poster is of the Barbicide container that was sitting there. And my friend Clay, who plays Bishop, his wife is a VFX supervisor, and she is a true wizard because she literally just like did that thing for us. And I told her what I wanted, and she was just like, "All right, just give me one day," and she did it, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
yeah, I stumbled across the poster somewhere online, and I was like, oh, that's pretty. I
Yeah.
love the lighting of it, and
Thanks.
yeah,
Yeah, that was
you
all
could.
like from the B-roll stuff that we shot because the scene of Guy in the chair, we had to get Bishop around the chair for when he plunges the scissors in. So
Mhm.
it's like it's easier said than done whenever you're like, okay, cool, we'll just have him go to the other side. And then when you go to look at it, you're like, oh God, that looked like shit. So we're gonna have to shoot something to make it look like to bide some time. So it was like, okay, so let's just get that bottle and then put a few drops of ink in it, and then that looks like blood, and boom. And then we just do that. And I got like I think it was like 1 minute straight of Guy, who's played by my friend Joey, of him like making vomit sounds. So we just put that in there, and boom. I remember the one thing I did was I was like, now put some water in your mouth and gurgle it, and bam. And then he did. That's the one we did. I
Mhm.
was like, there, nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is our longest episode by far because usually I can drag Rod for like 7 minutes along on a 2 minute short. But yeah, we've learned a lot. I think we're both super excited to see what comes of this. Hopefully, something from
Yep.
this, and if not this, I'm sure you'll do something else. But yeah,
Well, thank you very much.
yeah,
It was nice talking with y'all. I guess more was more
mhm.
at y'all, but
Yeah. Well, that's
Do
all right.
you have anything that any socials you want to plug or
oh, thank you. Yeah, Bishop's Day is on Instagram. It's just at Bishop's Day. And my podcast, Classic American Movies. That's just classic American movies. My podcast is kind of like this. We just sit there and talk, but I think like a lot of the times whenever people are on it, whenever we're talking, they were about like 30 minutes deep, and they're like, "Are we ever going to start this thing?" And I'm like, "Well, this is it, playa." And they're like, "Whoa, what? Like
Wait a minute.
we've been talking about riding bikes when we were 12." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. It's fun, isn't it?"
Do you have an episode on Rod's favorite film, Casablanca?
Oh, I
Ooh.
don't. Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
see,
that's a
yeah,
great movie. Though, good
yeah,
choice.
yeah.
Mine's Giant. James Dean, Rock Hudson, and Elizabeth Taylor.
Mm.
That's a solid. That's one of my favorites of all time. I could just play it while I'm cleaning or in doing anything. It's unbelievable.
I've never seen either of those films.
You never seen Casablanca?
No, I'm
What?
busy watching Return of the Living Dead, My Bloody Valentine.
And that's
Like
a good
over
night to
and
Chris
over.
Kelly. I'll see y'all. I got the 4K of that like the day it came out. Oh my god! Oh, so good.
I'm sure Rod will drag it out of me someday.
Oh, you should. There's a lot of
Yeah.
great movies. I watch movies constantly. I watched the Led Zeppelin documentary earlier today. It was wildly mediocre. Uh, I was like, there's no mention of drugs, and I'm like, well, Led Zeppelin was
Mm.
not exactly known for sobriety, but okay,
Yeah.
it's
Hmm.
like whatever. But yeah, it's okay. Yeah, my friend and I, we go to the theater constantly. It's always like 2 to 3 times a week, and yeah. Oh yeah, I love the movie theater, and it really saddens me because it's like there's always talk of them like going under, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, like that's not
Yeah.
good. Like I was talking to the dude today because like they know me there, and they're like, hey Chris, I'm like, hey, what's up? And they're like, yeah, they cut our hours back because they're not getting any good movies. And I was like, what? You mean Captain America didn't bring everybody back? And it's like,
Oh Lord.
oh my, let's talk
Yeah.
about it. Let's talk about how terrible that was. My God, like that was the most laziest fight scenes I've ever seen. I've seen tougher talking on the toilet. Like, what is this jump?
Rod
But
and I
anyway,
both went and seen Heart Eye, or yeah, we did both. Did you? We
Yeah,
both
Hard
seen
Eyes. Yep.
Heart Eyes, yeah, and that was good. But
ooh,
we
me
also
too.
both went and seen The Monkey. So
Ooh, I love that one too. That
It's
was
yeah, I
fun.
did.
that was so, yeah, wasn't
I
it
had a
though?
blast
Not
with
what
it.
I
Yeah,
expected.
yeah.
Same here. I was like, there's like some also like pretty cool things about the monkey is that you could tell Theo James was like, I know y'all know it's me. It's playing both these guys, and I love
Yeah,
that. It was just like like watching that they just had a blast, and it's like Osgood, Oz Perkins. You're like, just last year you turned out that crazy movie Long Legs, like with the crazy the lady that's was in Urban Legend. Now all of a sudden she's the crazy mama, and you're like, oh
yeah,
my
yep,
gosh, I loved it. Yeah, that's like I was very, very, very impressed with the monkey and Hard Eyes too, because
yeah.
it's a perfect Hallmark slasher. You take away the Hallmark, you got a good slasher. You take away the slasher, you got Hallmark. And I was like, man, they really nailed it. But that was Chris Landon, who's like, he knows what he's doing. Michael
Hmm.
Landon's son, so
Yep.
he's got to know his things.
Well, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'll get it saved, and I'll get it out to the world. But I think Chris would be fun to have back at some point on the wrong podcast side for like
Yeah.
a Casablanca or something along those lines. I don't know. I'm
Mm.
sure you guys could find an old film and make me watch something in black and white, right?
Yeah, I could. Oh
Absolutely.
my gosh. They need
Yeah.
what oh man, we could talk about East of Eden. It's not black and white, but oh my god, that's such a beautiful movie. Oh, I can do
I don't know. I think that's where they make out on the beach, right, Rod?
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's a good night to Chris. I'll
He said good night twice. Well, we better let him go so he can go watch some old black and white movies and
I gotta
have some
wash.
alcohol, right?
Yeah, I gotta go
Yeah.
wash my hair and get blackout drunk.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. Like I said, we'll get this out to everybody so they can see it. And if you see Bishop's Day at a film festival, go check it out. And we will keep you updated for what's coming in the future.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Absolutely.
if you have anything else, Chris, shoot me an email and we'll see what we can do with that. So,
Excellent. Yeah.
If not,
Real quick, we will be doing another one as soon as everybody is all settled. It's gonna be a zombie one. So
ooh,
if you liked Bishop's Day and the way it looked and everything, imagine that, but with a zombie. Well, it's not the
yes.
same thing, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So
Thanks so much, Chris.
Yeah,
the
thank you guys.
the
I really appreciate it. So
the ghost of Chris Kelly is making shorts,
He is.
hoping to make features. Yeah. Take
Yeah.
care.
Thanks.
Wanna go to the movies.
I like it spooky.